little hot on the levels.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. You know what? I'm a little hot too on these levels.
A little hot on the levs. Coming
Check.
out a little too hot still.
Little better for me on my levels. How are your levels?
I'm bringing them down because the hotness is just too hot.
It's too hot. Ooh.
The sleeveless tee. I've worked out 3 times in the last month, so got to show off daddy's gains,
How I'm sorry, but your haircut makes me feel like you're a retired boy band artist. And I was just curious what member of 98 Degrees you are.
No, it's all bad right now, Keith. Don't give me a hard time about it. Keith.
Everett, welcome back.
Hey, it's great to be here. Great to see you. Great to see you guys.
Great to see everyone.
Most of you.
But not you. You know who you are.
You know who you are, you son of a bitch. Keith, I feel like this is, I'm excited to talk to you about this movie.
Okay.
The Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad, because there's only one place we can start. And that is Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers
all roads
slash
lead to Warner
HBO
Brothers.
Max has been providing us with films throughout the pandemic without having to go to movie theaters. Big movies.
Big movies.
And they've all been awful. So, Keith has been well established by this point. You are not a fan of Warner Brothers.
My pure, unbridled hatred for Warner Brothers media.
But how does this one fit in? The old Suicide Squad.
I'll give you here's I guess the quick answer. I have hated Warner Brothers. They've made 2020 and 2021 worse somehow. So thank you for that. This movie specifically, I think is good, but I think it is a great time.
Okay.
I think it's a good film and a great time.
Okay. How about that, Warner Brothers?
I don't want to give them credit. We'll get into it. But tell me the quick synopsis, your log line of how you feel about this film.
Yeah, I agree with what you just said. Good and great time makes sense. It's good. I was expecting it to be pretty good, and it was pretty good. It more than did its job in terms of like a fun escapism. Like any of these movies, we'll talk about the nitpicks and stuff. Like any of these movies, though, they get a little stupid, and they get out. Like it's almost just inherent to the genre. Like it's gonna get a little goofy, and even like with Black Widow, the more I thought about Black Widow, I was like, yeah, that was really stupid. Like there's a lot of really stupid stuff in Black Widow. But I think for me personally, I don't know how many people are also like this, but like you watch a movie like this, and if it does a good enough job like entertaining you, and you just go along with it, then I'm not thinking about like the logic of things, because I'm sure if you really, like if I sat back and I was gonna take like really strict notes, I'd be like, this movie is stupid. Like it just doesn't, like the story doesn't make sense, or why did this happen, or what, like, but that, it didn't matter, because it was really genuinely funny, and mostly very entertaining. So it was a great job. Yeah. Warner Brothers, back. They're back, baby. We take back everything we said about Space Jam.
I was just kidding. I watch Space Jam now every night because I was like, you guys figured it out. You guys, yeah, all of it. Kong versus whatever.
Mortal Kombat, just great.
Just great. This, very similar to what you said. I thought we would feel very similar about this film coming into it, leading to a very boring episode.
Yeah.
But watching it, we've said it hundreds of times before, even though we don't have hundreds of episodes yet, hundreds of times where the bar is so low that this movie feels so much better and bigger. But if everything around it was better, I don't know how good this movie would be. But because the gap is so far, and this did, I don't want to say it did the bare minimum, because I think it went above the bare minimum.
Yeah, totally.
But because everything else is so far below where the bare minimum is, this just appears to be like, oh shit, creativity? It's great that it exists, and I thought throughout the whole film, like, this is what these movies should be. This is what these movies should be. So this is great by comparison.
Absolutely. Yeah. By comparison, it's like the best movie I've seen in,
in a long time.
In a long time.
In a long time.
Like truly, like in terms of big budget, kind of summer blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
Outside of some of the Marvel films that have been very good, this is easily the best one. Like that I can think of in, I don't know how long. You know, like it's, you want to go R-rated, it's the best big budget R-rated film I've seen, and
since
I couldn't
Deadpool?
tell you since. Yeah, I suppose.
Whose balls did I have to fondle to get my very own movie?
I liked the first one. I thought it was unique and clever, but the shtick wears thin. Not entirely unlike some of Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. So little background. Tell me how much you know. I don't know how much you've like looked into this, but the first Suicide Squad film came out in 2016. In my personal opinion, had like two of the best trailers of all time. Like literally. Great trailers. Got me excited. I'm not a DC guy. I don't know anything about the Suicide Squad. I don't give a shit. But like those trailers were like, oh wow, like this looks perfect. You know, like it's like antithesis to Marvel's like cheese guy. And this movie is one of the trailers had Bohemian Rhapsody in it, which is hard to go wrong when you got that kind of song playing. It's just really well done. And so I was really excited for that movie. I thought this is going to be a great time. And I like that prior to Space Jam, A New Legacy, is probably the worst movie I've ever seen. Like I was pretty sure after I saw that first one. Did you see it?
I have not seen it because you told me not to.
Yeah.
You're just like, don't see it.
It so clearly is the result of like hacked to pieces in the editing room. Like it literally feels like scene to scene, someone else's, it's a new vision. It's a whole new direction.
Triangle, bitch.
And so this sort of that larger Warner Brothers conversation, this is like all the ways that Warner Brothers continues to like fuck up, like we talk about all the time, like the Snyderverse and making these terrible films and just like what are they doing? This is like a whole new wrinkle. Like I can't think of any other time where a big, huge movie comes out and then you're basically doing a do-over.
Yeah, do-over.
And a rare move of intelligence. It was a great move on their part to hire James Gunn and to, from what it appears, give him kind of carte blanche. I'm not some huge James Gunn expert, but it does feel like his vision. I know he's kind of a kind of out there dude, and it feels like it's out there, and it feels consistent, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah, they got out of the way enough, but for the most part, I feel like they let him run and they took the role of what a studio should be. Let directors have their vision, good, bad, or indifferent. So,
what did they do well, Keith? Like what? Let me. All right. Start at the beginning of the film. Tell me just like your general emotions as you sat down to watch this and as it began, because I really think that entire first sequence, it's a lot. There's a lot to unpack. It's very, it's a thing.
Yeah.
This movie becomes a thing very quickly.
It felt very modern in that way. I feel like we've talked about this many times, where I am questioning how older films stack up versus new films. This is a very new way of storytelling. They're going to plop you into the middle of this situation, or get to this situation very, very quickly. There's going to be explosives. There's going to be action. There's going to be, holes in the story that you don't fully understand that you're probably going to come back to. Overall, I liked the approach. The problem with these setups, in my opinion, is that when you have no backstory going into this, like I don't know any of these people, and most of, I think, the public probably doesn't know all of these people. Marvel builds up Avengers 6 films deep, so that when you get them, like you can kind of move forward quickly. This has to set so much up, and for you to care about all these characters and know the nuance of all these things, it's hard to kind of catch up and like get invested. And so it leads to a lot of like, that's this guy. He does this, this, and this.
This is Christopher Smith, known as Peacemaker. In his hands, anything is a deadly weapon.
The beginning felt a little tropey to me once you got past it, but overall I can't complain about it. I enjoyed it.
I don't think it. To me, it wasn't tropey. Like to me, it was clearly trying to like subvert expectations. That whole introductory scene. I really liked the misdirection of using Michael Rooker as sort of your POV character, so you think he's going to kind of be the avatar for the audience. You're going to see at least part of the story through his eyes. And like that did surprise me.
Yeah.
Once that first group was on the helicopter or whatever and on their way out there, we was watching it with Monique, and you know she not familiar with these characters, you know, or the original or first film, and she said like I don't know anything about these people. Like, who are these people? Like, so like, you know, what am I supposed to like know? And I was like, I think most of these people are about to die. I was like, so I think that like I don't know what it was that set me off, but it tipped me off. But there was a thing that was like, oh, okay, like this is what this is gonna do. Like a great deal of these, because part of it is like you think back to trailers and you're like, that javelin guy I didn't see in more than 2 shots. Like I feel like there's gonna be some deaths here. I was really overwhelmed. Maybe we just have the conversation on the violence. Let's just do that real quick.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? I feel like I understand it. I think if you didn't have really graphic violence in this kind of movie, especially directed by someone like James Gunn, like people would be disappointed that it's not more. But just my own personal taste. This is my own personal taste. It's too much for me. It became too much. I don't need it. I know that you need to have a couple thrills, and I going in, I was even like warning Monique. I was like, I think this movie's gonna be pretty fucking gross because it's James Gunn, and that having a free reign of an R-rated film in a genre that doesn't have many R-rated movies, so they're gonna overcompensate. And to me, it was very overcompensating in the beginning. Especially because that was, you know, there was gore throughout, but that was definitely like the goriest sequence. Like when Pete Davidson's head
explodes,
fucking face like that. Like I just don't like those visuals in my brain, and that's just because I'm getting older. It didn't add anything to the film for me, you know. But I bet if you're 15, you're like, that's the coolest shit of all time. So
that's, to me, it feels. I feel like that this movie needed to have it, kind of, for that reason. For the reason of just separating itself. I feel like if you take away the R and the cursing and the blood and the gore, that's a Marvel movie. That's like Guardians of the Galaxy. Like that's just a James Gunn. It's a quirky, you know, it's funny. There's some light moments. There's some heart to it. You know, big action set pieces. Like that's a Marvel. Like, so you need to separate. Like you need to do something. You need to go a step further. It needs to be a little bit more daring, a little bit more bold, because of how the market is so cornered. And so
I'm not advocating to like get rid of the R rating or not have the profanity or not have inappropriate jokes or even the violence. I'm just saying my personal taste.
It was too much for
there's
you.
There's a huge difference between the extreme gore of this film and like a normal R-rated violent movie.
Yeah.
Like this movie is celebrating showing terrible wounds up close, you know?
But I'm, again, taste versus appreciation. I don't know if that, and maybe we're saying the same thing. Taste-wise, yeah, I could do without it too. Like I don't need all of it. I need some of it personally, but I just
sick fuck.
But I don't need all of it. But I appreciate that they went for it. It was consistent. Yeah. If it's one thing, it was consistent, and I'm glad that Warner Brothers doesn't step in at the last minute and go, I don't know, we shouldn't be doing this. This is too much. Like,
yeah, totally.
Like, go, just own it. Like, own it, do it, embrace it, have that be this. Like, this is what these movies are. They're not for everyone. Like, it's okay to have a movie that's not for 12-year-olds to 75-year-olds.
Every demographic.
Yeah, like it's
no, for sure. I agree. I agree completely.
So I was just happy that I was happy that they stuck with it and that it was there. Like, oh, different, great.
And it also served an interesting purpose, I noticed as the film went on, that when you start a movie with that much like overt, disgusting gore, like, because even I kind of like look away. Like, you know, it's like some of it you're like, oh, Jesus Christ. But then throughout the rest of the film, and some people probably don't like this, I like this sensation, is like, I think it's intentional in several shots in particular I noticed, where it's like James Gunn is setting you up to think that something, you're always on the edge of your seat a little more. There's a little like discomfort where you're like, any minute it might jump cut to something fucking disgusting. And that like adds to my experience as a viewer, because you're like, you know, like you can argue that that's not what you want a viewer to feel, but I feel like that's valuable in some instances, including this one.
You're laughing at me for, man? Why the fuck are you in your underwear? Tighty whities? Really?
Now that's just racist.
No,
So other things that I really liked, I thought the script was very funny.
Yep.
I thought most of the jokes hit. Not all. There was a couple that was like, da-dunch, like not as great.
Yeah.
But all in all, I thought really clever, really funny. I like really laughed out loud quite a bit. I think highlights were John Cena. I think was really, really good. And at first I was like, oh, he's going to be annoying because he's kind of doing this thing. But then he becomes genuinely really funny, I think, throughout. My favorite line, I think, of the movie, it's in one of the trailers, I think, but he says, like, aren't you called the Peacemaker or whatever? And he says,
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
that is just high end. That's just great stuff.
Yeah.
It's very, very funny. And then I really laughed out loud. I love the whole sequence of him and Idris Elba like infiltrating that camp and kind of one-upping each other as they're like killing these guys in these different ways. And that was funny. But then the funniest part is that those were like good people.
Those were good guys.
like that.
Why did my people not alert me of your arrival?
we didn't see any people.
I didn't see anybody on the way.
There's no one.
This is the movie that I feel like everyone talks about with those other films. Like, it's just fun. You don't think about it. You just go along for this ride. Like, that's this movie, but only because they check off the basics of the boxes that need to be checked. Those other films don't do that, and people don't kind of make that distinction.
The filmmaker's having a good time. The actors are having a good time. The movie's having a good time. So you're having a good time. And that's all you need from this kind of movie. And to what you're saying, like that is just missing in so many of these earlier Warner Brothers films.
Yes.
It's like we said it just a little while ago, like it's not that hard, and that certainly makes us sound very naive, I'm sure. But like we're both filmmaker enough as filmmakers ourselves to know that like you like writing a good script is hard, but you're Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Like get some people that can write good, clever scripts. They don't have to split the atom.
Yeah,
you don't have to like.
That's what we're not asking for the best. Not asking for that.
Yeah.
Just asking for like standards, general standards, and that don't get hit.
Okay, so let's trash this fucking movie.
Yeah, let's just really get
Trash
into
time.
it. Let's get into it.
I'm the garbage man. Trash takes. Trash takes. That should have just been the name of the
That should
show.
have been the
We
name
blew
of the
it.
show. God damn it. All right, garbage man, give me your garbage
All right.
takes.
Time for the garbage man. Well, all right, let's ease into it with a subject that I'm not necessarily trashing, but I'm genuinely curious what you think, because this is this might be an unpopular opinion of what I'm about to say. I don't understand the appeal of Margot Robbie's, however you want to say her. I'm sorry, however you want to say her name. However her name is
It's
pronounced.
supposed to be pronounced.
How do you say it? Margot Robbie.
I go Robbie because it's pretentious. Margot Robbie, Robbie, as Harley Quinn. I don't get it. I don't, because I don't love that character. It has nothing to do with her. She's a very good actress, beautiful and talented. But like, I don't, like that character is so beloved or whatever, or celebrated. So they really lean into her and try and give her stuff to do. Like, I thought her whole side mission, or it's not side mission, but side adventure in this film was, like, really unnecessary. Like, it's as if they're like, she's the star, people love her, we need to have her own thing.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of write this side journey for her, the side quest that she gets involved in, because we have to have her be, like, a badass and cool and
Just
alone on the
independent.
screen for a
Yeah,
while.
she's independent. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I find the portrayal like kind of annoying. Like I don't know, like that kind of New Yorky.
Yeah, her accent, I don't like. It feels phony.
I love your accent.
American women all love accents.
We do, because we don't got none.
I tried to watch Birds of Prey, and I couldn't get through the intro. I couldn't get through
Really?
like that cartoon. Have you seen it?
I didn't watch it. I knew I wouldn't like it, so I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I can't get over like that. She seemed a little bit more toned down in this film than the 2 minutes I gave that film. I couldn't get through the credits. It's like a cartoon where she's like just like narrating her backstory to catch people up to like who she is.
So I threw myself into my work, became a psychiatrist. That's when I met him, Mr. J, my Joker.
It seems like she's doing an accent, and I can't unhear it. So it makes it hard for me to buy her in any way.
And it's a little uneven too. It's not that just that it's kind of annoying. It kind of comes in and out a little bit. So that even makes it weirder and more obvious because you're like, okay, is the character Harley Quinn doing a bit, or is this Margot's attempt to have a consistent real accent?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I think because I blame a lot on the accent, to be honest with you, because with that I don't understand. Like, is she supposed to be really dumb? Is she supposed to be a dumb person? Because she doesn't understand a lot.
I could be your friend, Milton.
Not my name.
What are you talking about? We just had a conversation for like 3 hours about how your name is Milton.
So is that part of the character? And do they mistake dumb for crazy? Because it feels like those things are interchangeable for the character.
Yeah.
But they're not. Like, those are two very different things. Like, is she just stupid? Or is she crazy? Or both?
Or like crazy like a fox? I feel like that's kind of what that character is.
Supposed
like
to be?
Clinically insane, but like kind of, she's a Joker. She's like the female Joker. Insane, violent, deranged, but like kind of brilliant. You know, it's that kind of thing, but I don't get any
any of that brilliance.
If we find out you have personalized license plates, you die.
What? No.
I'd like her to be a little darker, personally, like that character.
Yeah.
Like a little more like mysterious and threatening and like almost seductive. Like she's like you don't know, like you know she's crazy, but you don't know how crazy. And now, and the way they portray her now is like very cartoonish.
Yeah, she's
very
goofy.
like, I just took a big dump, you know, and you're just like, this is like. This is Harley Quinn?
There's nothing that sort of makes so again maybe it's in the individual film where they really lean into why she's so. I'm a big person on like nothing about her demeanor and general character equals how talented she is of an assassin.
Harley Quinn is better at hand-to-hand combat than a full squad of trained military people? Yes. No further questions.
If she were a little bit more dark and mysterious and outwardly confident, like you'd be like, oh, I can see how this person's like a trained assassin or a trained killer and like can do all the things that she can do. But like all of it feels mismatched. It's just like she's weird, she's dumb, she's also brilliant, and the best trained assassin murderer can do every backflip and punch and kick and what, like it all just seems like, again, I feel like Warner Brothers specifically struggles with female characters because they just make them do everything. They don't like to give them flaws. They don't like to give them, they don't want to limit them in any way. It's just like, so they do everything that's cool and awesome all the time, always. And that feels very hard to wrap your arms around that character and embrace them for who they are because they're everything, always.
Yeah.
All the time.
I want a little more. I don't know if you've seen Basic Instinct. It's a movie that I really like, and I want more of like that energy. Like Sharon Stone is Catherine Trammell, who's like this beauty, and she's very seductive, like overtly seductive. But like all these guys are just like enraptured by her, but they suspect she might be a murderer. Like, you know, like so you're never sure. Like is she in control? Is she manipulating me? I feel very vulnerable. Like it's all that kind of stuff that, but then, you know, any minute she might stick you with an ice pick because she's, you know, cold-blooded maybe, you know, spoiler alert, maybe. You don't know, I didn't say anything. Watch Basic Instinct, it's a great time. I want to do it on here. But, and so to a larger conversation from Harley Quinn, from the portrayal, the one thing I thought about you as when I thought of this as I watched, was this is a great example, I thought, of a movie where we've talked several times about where comedy comes from, and everyone is funny in this movie. And that got a little old. It's very funny. It's very funny. But as the movie goes on, there is no real, like, they talk about like the heart is the rat catcher, the girl with the rats.
They try.
And even
Yeah,
and even the Polka Dot Man has some, you know, like, you know, I don't know, some moral arc a little bit. Redemption a little bit.
Not really.
But like they're all still saying punchlines for the most part. And that got a little distracting. Like I said, like if Harley Quinn was a little more serious and darker, and I don't know, even Rick Flag, the guy who gets hit in the heart, like even he's kind of saying some goofy jokes sometimes.
Save me?
It was a really good plan too.
We just need a little more seriousness from some people to ground those emotional scenes
1,000%.
a little better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Everybody's fun and cool, and I think they want to present sort of like, I feel like comic books in general, or maybe it's just Warner Brothers, I don't know, but I feel like they have more leniency because they're all bad guys that they shouldn't be. So like everybody's Stone Cold Steve Austin in this film.
Steve Austin does what he wants when he wants.
Like, you know, it's like the anti-hero, and they're quick-witted, and they're like, I don't give a shit, I play by my own rules. Like, and that's fun. In like, the anti-hero was all the heroes, so now they're just heroes. Like, so they cancel each other out in that way. I feel like, to your exact point, there should have been more straight-laced people, or not people who were just comedic effects.
Buddy's way with me.
These types of movies often, in my opinion, end up spiraling a little bit in the third act. Like that is an inevitability, because it's easier to build this world and introduce these characters and set up the conflict, especially in a big ensemble like this, because it's funny and there's a lot of opportunity for like cool shit that you don't get to do in a lot of other movies. But then when you have to try to stick a landing, like a narrative landing, and make all of these fantastical things that you've introduced, like conclude in a reasonably logical, sensible way, that's really hard to do. So I give a pass, and that's why I said even like Black Widow, I kind of zone out about the specifics of how it's working, because you're just like, whatever, like they have to do what they have to do. But this movie, because it was so good for most of the duration, I noticed a little more in the third act where like the starfish shows up and shit, and they're kind of like betraying each other, and it's kind of like becomes a little muddled. I wish that was just a little more, I don't know, maybe a little more concise, because there's like 2 or 3 like action climaxes. And then I thought it was an interesting choice, and I personally would have done it differently, to make the starfish like so colorful and like funny looking.
Yeah.
Because like I get that you're leaning into the fact that this is a giant starfish with a cyclops and all these, you know, it's stupid. Like that's just the way it is. It's a comic movie. It's very self-aware. So like that's fine. But at least try to make the main threat like a little threatening. Like to me, it's just so like light and bright. Like I wish that was a dark, like scary starfish.
Yeah.
Not like a fucking like day glow, like cutesy anime looking starfish.
And I'm willing to bet, like I'm willing to bet that's a studio decision. If I had to bet, I bet that's a studio decision, not a director decision. Because I did, I thought it was very interesting and very alien-like. We did somewhat recently, the Alien episode. I like it's spawning itself and taking, like I like that plot. I like that idea, that concept, but then they'd cut to like a wide shot of this big like clown looking thing, like, and it kind of reminded me of like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man a little bit, where I like, that's adorable. Like that's fun. And although that was the point of that in Ghostbusters, because I thought of Ray, I thought of the nicest thing I could, like he couldn't hurt us, and like that's kind of the point. That wasn't the point here, and it looks silly and goofy at times, seeing the starfish kind of wobble its way through the city.
I was happy, floating, staring at the stars.
Can I tell you my biggest gripe?
Yeah.
That I feel like is a studio thing too, because I'll never let you off the hook, Warner Brothers. Never. Just let people die. Just let.
Oh yeah.
I was so happy to see all the death at the end. I was like, wow, they're killing a lot of these guys off. And I just thought, great, get some stakes, get some weight here. They're bad guys. They're meant to die. It's called the fucking Suicide Squad. We gotta lose some people to make it all feel worth it, you know, to feel the weight of this moment, this time. And then literally one by one, they just kept, this guy, no, this guy, because they didn't do it all at once. It was like, no, this guy's alive. This guy's alive. This guy's alive. This guy's alive. I was, why?
I feel like they'd say, like, you know, if you look at the entire combined roster of the Suicide Squad in this movie, there's probably like 16 people, and
No,
5 of
I mean
them,
the
or 6 of them are
characters we
alive.
care about. Like obviously.
No, I know.
Not the sacrifice, not the weasel, but they couldn't even kill the fucking weasel.
I know, that was goofy. It was like, it was super funny when he falls into the ocean, though.
It
They're like,
just
no
doesn't-
one, look, if this thing could swim. Like, that was really funny.
Yeah.
And it just, like, just struggles
immediately
and
dies.
dies. It's very funny. Yeah, I mean, John Cena's got a HBO Max show coming out as that character, so that's why, you know, you got to make that money.
Oh, is that really? He's got a show coming out as Peacemaker?
Yeah, the Peacemaker is going to have his own show here pretty soon. To kind of contradict that, I thought the Polka Dot Man's death was so stupid. Like, and so needless. Like, for the story, because to me, that was kind of a failing. Like, tonally, like, even if this guy's a fucking madman and he's visualizing murdering his mom and stuff, and, like, he's not, like, a great guy, obviously, but he is one of the two kind of, I guess, 2.5 emotional cores a little bit, because you're kind of like, wow, and he does a great job. That actor does a really good job.
Yeah.
But then just to have him, like, die in such a, like, quick, meaningless, like for humor, like that, it started to get a little tonally weird in that end thing, where it's like that, his death could have meant something.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to try to bring you to tears, but you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it could have
been emotional, a little bit more emotional.
Yeah, instead of just like, like that was just, oh, okay, so why did, what? Like, I don't know.
Why I don't understand. I really enjoyed Shark Hulk.
What'd you call him? Shark Hulk, okay.
Shark Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shark Hulk, because that's all that character. The character does the Hulk.
Monster is Num Num!
Monster Num Num.
And Hulk. Smash.
Right?
It's like Shark Hulk Groot, because, like, he can't speak.
And I enjoy big dumb animal humor. Like, it's, you know, it's
Yeah.
fun. It's a fun character to have. But I just don't understand. Like, he can't die either. Like, why? I hate not understanding. It's my biggest gripe with all of these types of films. I hate not understanding the rules. He falls a mile into rubble, a building crashes on him, he gets shot at point blank range by every bullet in all of this country. Like, he does it, he falls through another building, he just can't, but he just can't die. He can't die. So he can't die? Yeah. So he's invincible? Then I should know that. I should know, like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I hate not understanding what people's powers are or why things happen.
Yeah, he's fine. I was, like, ready to hate him because I was just like, you're going to try to force this on me. And the first couple lines were just like, oh, God, like, it's just going to be that kind of thing. But then it, like, genuinely it's good.
Yeah,
and then,
fine.
like, even when he's, like, moments of random emotion, when he was, like, playing with those little, like, jellyfish creatures that end up biting him, like, as they're, like, running, it was, like, you know, I didn't get emotional, but there was just, like, and I was like, God damn it, they got me. Like, you know, this stupid CGI scene with the shark, like, playing with his, like, got me. And I was like, oh, that's good, you know, that's well made. Lastly, I guess, on the stuff I thought was dumb, was like, I know the Polka Dot Man is intentionally supposed to be stupid. Like, I read a little interview blurb with James Gunn, like, because I thought he's the stupidest fucking character in DC, so I want to make him. So it's like, okay, sure, I can appreciate that. But, like, dumb. But then I thought, like, the rat catcher was like, that was so stupid, too. Like, that like, you don't even have a power. You're just like a young girl that has a wand that controls rats. Like, that was, like, I don't know. And
I hate that that's the conclusion.
Like
I hated that was, like, the thing that defeats the thing.
And that's, like, emotional. Like, because to me, that was, like, the most unintentionally funny part, was when she's, like, and this, like, the effects were mostly pretty good in this movie, but I didn't think when the sea of rats, she's, like, on top of Idris Elba and wanding it as they're like, running up the thing, and there's just these waves of rats. And it doesn't play that for laughs. Like, that's honestly supposed to be
that's like the
emotional
God, it's
climax.
Happening. They're doing it. Yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
like this is a stupid thing that's happening.
Yeah.
And it's not the Taika Waititi cameo is not having the effect that you hope this is having.
Yeah. The line of dialogue does its best to make it all worth it.
Rats are the lowliest and most despised of all creatures, my love. They have purpose.
And that's the whole.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. That line of dialogue is a you know, emblematic for everything that happens in that film and who these people are. And you know, so that line of dialogue I thought was great and very powerful and really helps that moment be anything that it is, and I still don't like it because it's stupid. Because it's stupid. No one likes rats. no one's, I don't know. It's just stupid.
All in all, what else? Anything else?
All in all, super fun. It's a fun time. You should definitely go watch it. It's super fun. It's enjoyable.
It's a good time.
It's everything you want, I think, this movie to be. I believe that because DC should be different than Marvel, and it is. And in this execution of it is. It's what I think you're hoping for. It's for adults. Finally, an adult movie. You know, it's what you want it to be. I think overall, it's what you want it to be.
In the barren desert hellscape that is modern cinema, where we're all just starving and hoping for anything halfway good. This is it's a very good, enjoyable movie. So you can't complain too much. You know, I mean, obviously we do because that's why we're here. But
yeah, we're here to complain.
That's why you guys pay us. No, it's totally good.
Go see it.
Yeah, you do. Would you like to apologize to Warner Brothers?
Dear Warner Brothers, go f*** yourself.